I want to show you shock tactics in a tutorial in a crash course video, short and concise. This is how this game works. The release will be on April 11th. I'm recording this 2 days earlier. This tutorial video together with a developer, with Leonard Kausch, the lead developer at the indie developers Point Black Games in Berlin. Hello, Leonard.
Hello, Daniel.
So what kind of game is this? Basically, I would say it's a variant of XCOM, that turn-based tactics game, with many small and quite thoughtful and intelligent changes. It already starts with the fact that a completely different story is being told here. We actually begin here on a world map, which is partly covered in the fog of war. We are here on an alien planet.
Yes, exactly. You've just landed on the new planet, set up your base, and you are the first of the space pioneers to land on the planet and explore it. That's exactly how the player sees it when they start the game fresh. And at the beginning, as you can see, there are 3 people on your team, and the first important task is to get 6 people into your team to gain more firepower. And that's what the player should get started with right away. Start one of the first missions they found there and get a new recruit. And we should do that as well.
The game runs in turns, both in this mode here, which is the strategy map, and later during the battles, in the tactical battles, both are turn-based. We have a vehicle that we can move across these hex tiles. Each move onto a terrain tile takes up 1 day. In the background, the clock is ticking down. We have an enemy who, as you can see at the top, will arrive in 137 turns. That's the international consortium that's competing with us to exploit this planet. We want to bring in another team member. We have 3, as you can see on the right side, and for that it's best to go on a mission. Which one do you recommend for us?
I'd say the crate warehouse is pretty good. At the beginning, it's a really good one to do.
It takes 3 days. We're going there, and you can see how difficult it is on the difficulty bar. You also saw the rewards that are offered there. For example, it happens quite often in missions that if you make it through successfully, you get another fighter. On the mission briefing screen, you can see what the mission objective is and what rewards await us. In this case, it's 1,800 credits and 2 artifacts. These are some of the resources available in the game. We're going in, and on these edges we have to, well, we're landing here with our troops now, and we need to try to play as offensively as possible. That's a big difference compared to the major inspiration XCOM. Here, it doesn't make sense to hold back for long or to bunker down somewhere. Instead, you should take an aggressive approach. Because the moment the enemy spots us for the first time, that's when they'll march toward us with all the troops they've got. That means we can't just reveal small groups of enemies. For example, now that we see the first enemies up there, we know the enemy is advancing.
In the mission, you can also see that if we have to scroll to the upper left, there are some of our allies pinned down near a mining laser. And one of our main objectives is to keep one of them, who is a mercenary, alive and come to his aid. Then, after the mission, he will join our squad.
By holding down the mouse wheel, you can rotate the map in all directions. You can move the map section using the WASD keys. With a left click, you can select the units individually. You can also click on these portraits on the left side to switch back and forth between them. You can also use keyboard commands instead. For example, with the tab key you can cycle through the soldiers, or with the shift key you can go through them in reverse order. You give movement and action commands with the right mouse button. If you can shoot at an enemy, you'll see it by the red lines. If you want very precise information, hold down the left control key. Then you'll see arrows like this and you'll know exactly what you can do. We want our opponents to take cover first, then move toward the enemy and eliminate those 2. What cover system do you use?
The cover system works in 3 stages, and we don't distinguish between high or low cover. Both give you the same cover advantages. It works a bit differently under other rule sets. If you're hiding behind 1 meter high cover and your opponent is above you, they can basically flank you over the top, not just from the side. If you take cover behind high cover like the red stormtrooper there, then you're immune to being flanked from above, and your opponent has to flank you from the side to counter your cover, so to speak.
You can see different shield symbols here. A full shield means full cover bonus when the opponent shoots at you. If the shield is only half, then you have half cover. If there are no shields on the unit at all, then you're out of luck. The cover works in all 4 directions, just like in the original XCOM. That means if the enemy comes down from up there, then you have shields here, protection in front of you. If, on the other hand, the enemy was standing here, for example, then he could shoot at this soldier and the soldier would have no cover anymore. With a right click, let's start with this unit here, the one standing here. It can target both enemies here. The chance to hit is indicated as a percentage value. Unlike its big inspiration XCOM, you don't just fire a single shot here, but a whole burst. I'll click on attack down here. Alternatively, you could also press 1 or right click directly on it, and then it will shoot. This 81% hit chance applies to every single shot. I don't think you need to reload. And there are no problems with ammunition either. You've simplified the system a bit there.
Yes, the whole game design is aimed at making things move quickly, and in the end, combat keeps moving at full speed every turn. And that's why, for example, we don't have any healing abilities. Unlike many other games, we simply said, okay, healing during combat just slows things down. If you take damage now, you need to handle it tactically. If someone is nearly dead, pull them back and keep them safe. That just makes the game much faster, and you get more of a sense that what happens really matters.
You see a green radius here and a blue one. Each one has a certain number of action points per round. When you move forward, you gradually use up more and more points, as you can see from the AP display. Within the green range, you use few enough action points to still have enough left to fire afterward. If he moves into the blue area, you have to expect that he won't be able to perform an attack action afterwards. That means think carefully. You can move step by step, for example, first a few steps here and then a bit further. You can also do everything at once. If you give an order to move forward and you uncover a new enemy while running forward, the soldier will automatically stop and you can calmly decide what further orders you want to give to your unit.
That's a super important feature for us because it allows us to give these offensive movement commands without taking too much risk. It makes the game faster and helps you make better decisions.
But for now, these are just the very, very basic fundamentals of combat. We'll show you the details of how it works in a moment, but first, let's take a look at a more advanced game state. This is how it appears in a later game phase, with much of the planet's surface already revealed. And the Imperial Consortium is now also involved in the fight here. And we have a lot more soldiers available. You can see it in the top right, there are 6 now, and we have a pretty well developed base. You can get to it down here on the bottom left when you click on back to base. And what you can see here now are different areas of the base that we can click through one by one. Armory, landing pad, training center, tech forge. We'd be glad to show you that. Let's start with the armory. Here we can assign different weapons to each of the soldiers we have. On the right side you can see the weapons we currently have. On the left side is what's in the pool, and some of those are advanced weapons. For example, we can level up this one here, Mabuto Bunker Balvin.
Yes, his primary weapon right now is still a starter rifle. And his secondary weapon is a laser rifle. What he really lacks is something that uses explosive ammo and can really chew through health. That's why we'll give him the Bullet Storm.
If we click on equip here, the weapon that's at the very top right will always be the one that's swapped out. You can see different stats for each weapon. Damage can be dealt to the enemy's shields if they have any, to armor, and of course to health. And for each weapon you can also see a range indicator.
With range, it's very important to pay attention to which tactical situations it's good for. For example, the sniper rifle has extremely high range, but at very close range it has problems. The submachine gun drops off very quickly. It can only be used effectively within the first 10 meters, and for example, assault rifles are good at medium range.
The green area of the bar shows at what distance from 0 to 25 meters this weapon is especially effective. If it turns yellow or even red, then it doesn't do any real damage anymore. Soldiers always carry 2 weapons with them in combat. Here it's marked as the primary weapon. That's simply the one he has in his hand first when he's deployed on the map, but you can swap it at any time during combat without any disadvantages, and then you also wear armor or other equipment with you that may also provide special abilities. Let's move on to the next one. For example, we can do that up there by clicking on Tech-Schmiede. Now we arrive here where we see the different armors available.
Tech-Schmiede is a very important place in the base where you convert the resources and artifacts you win on the world map into new technologies and new weapons to strengthen your troops. We're currently a bit short on resources, but we can build a new sniper rifle if we switch to the weapon category.
Here it is. You can see on the right side what resources you need for each item. For many weapons you'd like to build instead, something is often missing. Here, for example, unknown compound, it's highlighted in red when you're missing a resource. But if it's not flashing red, then you can produce it. You can also find the needed resources in the top left. You collect them during missions and while moving around the world map, or they are produced over time in certain buildings that you unlock. Those are credits. You can see them in the top left, basically gold or money. Then here is an alloy that can be found on this planet, an exotic metal, another exotic material, and a third one, compression artifacts. Then there are also channeling artifacts here. There were earlier life forms that may have existed here on the planet, just wait and see what the story tells you. And also reaction artifacts.
You can only get the artifacts once in missions that you have to fight for, and you get the alloy from outposts that you have to keep under permanent control to get alloy each day.
Now we've built such a sniper rifle. There it is. It gets added to the arsenal and then we can assign it to our soldiers, and it works similarly with the armor. The special properties of the armor and weapons are explained in the top right corner. Let's move on. Let's switch to the training center. The third building on the base lets you see the individual units and soldiers. You can click through them one by one in the bottom left corner. Always click on the small portraits. Yes, here you have the option to assign different skills. There's a skill row up here and below it a training row. Some of them are still marked with padlocks here. That depends on what you see in the top right on the crest. Yellow crest, black number on it. That's the level, the experience level that a unit has reached so far. If you hover your mouse over the symbol of this unit's class, a table will be displayed, and which improvements happen at each level. Experience points that you gain in battle make sure that you have more health points, more action points, or can shoot more accurately in combat, and over time they will also unlock additional slots here.
Training is what all classes have in common. That means when you unlock the slots for training, you get the opportunity to freely choose abilities from the 3 different upgrade levels in the training camp. And with that, you can change the abilities that the respective classes and the team have in the game. And over the course of the game, you can also try out new strategies and test new builds.
That means at the top left you see basics, advanced, and special. This whole area refers to this training row here. And the first slot that you have from the beginning, you fill with one of the basic abilities. The second slot, once it's unlocked, you fill with one of these advanced abilities, and the third, when the previous lock is removed, you can assign one of the powerful special training options. Above all these training options, there's another row with abilities. These are the ones that are connected to the respective class. So you can't choose those freely, they just come automatically when a unit gains more experience points during the game.
Exactly.
One more, we're switching to the landing site. Here we are now, and now we can decide which soldiers we want to take with us on the next mission, for example. We can take up to 6 with us. We also have a pool of other people that we might get during the course of a game. They're on the left side, then you can assign people. If you want to exchange a specific unit here, like this one for example, then you click Remove from Team at the bottom. Then it moves over to the pool, and from the left side you can bring one over to the right, and in the middle you'll find the properties and the equipment that this unit currently has. Those are the most important things in the base. What I personally find quite nice are the customizations.
Yes, you can freely change the armor colors by clicking on the spray can at the bottom right next to the armor, which is actually very helpful since we don't have any equipment restrictions on the classes. In theory, you can equip your sniper with heavy armor. It's also wise to color them distinctly to avoid confusing them on the battlefield and accidentally sending your sniper to the front lines.
How that works is best tried out for yourself, because the joy of discovery is simply a big part of the fun. But now let's go back to the world map. We still want to show you how you can successfully handle some particularly tricky battles with a well-equipped team. There are various mission types for that.
That's right, there are story missions and there are side missions. Most side missions are bases that you build, where you then set up excavation sites. You need your off-road vehicle on site to do that. But there are also missions that are purely combat missions. You don't need the off-road vehicle, just send your squad into battle with the dropship. For missions like the corridor mission, we can go straight there and start. The consortium seized one of our outposts and we want to reclaim it now.
Very high difficulty level, 5 white bars. Let's see if this goes well. We're landing with our transport craft. Our troops will be deployed. And this is the challenge we're facing here. On the opposite side, you'll find 3 enemies. One is on the roof, one is stationed below, and one is on the right side. Some of them have shields. That's the blue bar above the red health bar of the units. The orange bar, that's the armor bar. It's the same for our guys, who are now so well equipped that they're not just relying on a single health bar to shield themselves against enemy fire. What's really good is that we have different weapon types, some of which are specialized for firing at armor or for firing at shields.
We have laser weapons marked in blue which work well against shields and are somewhat effective against armor. They're currently our best option for armor since we don't have plasma weapons. And then we have explosive weapons which are especially good against hit points, but they don't do any damage to armor at all. That's why we need to soften them up, right? Red outline means explosive.
That means, for example, with this unit here, this is a Stormer, we've already moved him a few steps, we could now perform a very special move with him, a special attack. One that I personally find absolutely spectacular. You can trigger it here using the 8 key.
Exactly, that's an ability from the armor. That means these are very powerful abilities that you can only use once per battle. And this one allows you to place 3 beacons on the map.
Or basically 3 darts.
Fire 3 darts, and then he teleports to each of those darts and attacks the nearest enemy.
That means I click here first, that's the first arrow, it gets marked there. Then we can place a second arrow a little farther away. We're not sure if it will fall on the one below or the one on the roof. Both are possible. Maybe next we'll try this one here, the one standing in the middle. We can't reach that one.
We can easily hit the one down there with 2 more beacons.
Exactly, maybe just on the opposite side. From here, for example, he definitely doesn't have any cover.
Exactly.
And a third arrow, with that we could, for example, from here he can't fire at him. But maybe also up here again. Does he have cover up there? Doesn't he have any?
He does have cover. That would then be
the third arrow. I'll mark that as well now. We confirm that and see what happens.
Now he's distributing the beacons.
3 darts are sunk. 3 opponents are under fire. He's dodging quickly. He even shot at the one on the roof once.
That fit perfectly. Since he couldn't see from the upper spot to the one below, he shot the shield off the one on the roof. Very good.
That worked very well. There are also some less spectacular but still effective things, like something all units can do: stabilize and warp out. You can also save your units.
Yes, that's very important because we have a very offensive playstyle and no healing abilities. That means, especially with the strikers, it's definitely going to happen that one of them will lose all their health points. Then he bleeds out for 3 rounds, and during that time you have a window in which you can reach and save him.
Then there's an ability that you can always make good use of. I'll demonstrate it here, for example. Within the green range, I move with him, and just for demonstration purposes, I click on Overwatch on the Overwatch mode. That means in the next round, when the computer opponent moves, he could be in real trouble.
That works well here since the only opponent we see has no cover yet. We could use Overwatch, place our second heavy beside him on Overwatch 2, and when the opponent seeks cover, both will shoot at him.
This means when the enemy moves on their turn, our units will automatically fire at them, and it won't count against us. That doesn't cost any action points, we don't lose them because of that, so we can fight normally again in the next round. These are some of the special abilities here. What's important in terms of playstyle is that you actually specialize your units so they can work well together as a team. Do you have any personal favorite units?
That's the Striker, my favorite unit, since it has the most action points. That gives you a lot more tactical options for positioning yourself, and positioning is the most important thing in these cover-based tactics games. He doesn't have that many hit points, but if you position him well and play well, you can make some really good tactical moves with him.
Is it possible in the game to move forward slowly, like saying, I'll just wait and see until the enemy comes?
In some missions you can do that. In most missions it's not advantageous to play so defensively, because then you don't rescue your allies, and the reinforcements the enemy calls will join up with the troops already on the map, which can make things much harder overall.
The game as a whole is divided into different phases. At the beginning you just get to know the map and encounter pirates or maybe even native life forms. At some point the Imperial Consortium lands, and then there's a final phase with a very special challenge.
Yes, exactly. At the end, ancient aliens appear who once left the planet, and they form the final attack wave. After the Consortium lands, open war begins. That's a key point in the game. At the beginning, you mostly explore the planet, and then the war starts, so you have to be ready for that when the Consortium lands.
What is the goal of the game? In other words, how can you mess up a game and lose, and how can you win?
Well, you can lose very quickly. If you lose your entire squad, then you have no way to fight any more battles, and that's how you lose. However, it should also be said that there are some story missions that are very time critical. You have to win them, and you have to win them within a certain time. Otherwise, you lose the campaign as well. You win by surviving the entire campaign, first by surviving the landing of the Imperial Consortium, because your base will also be attacked by the player, and then you have to successfully defend your base, otherwise you lose the game. And you win by completing the entire campaign within the required time and winning all the battles.
Short and to the point, that was the crash course on shock tactics. If you want to experience more details and go on some adventures, maybe together with me, Riding Bull, a Let's Play, will start on my YouTube channel right after this tutorial video. There, I'll play through a game, maybe not all the way to the end, but far enough that you can experience a whole lot of different missions and various tactical challenges. I'm looking forward to that, and also to seeing you there again. See you then, and have fun with shock tactics.